Today's episode is about goodbyes. Today, I say goodbye to my trusty EOS R. If you're watching this video, you may have seen my title, which I hope wasn't too clickbaity, because I didn't do it as a clickbait. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, is it time to say goodbye to this? Is it time to say goodbye to this?" No, I'm saying goodbye to my EOS R today. It served me well. I bought it in 2019. It was my primary camera. I've used it on weddings. I've used it for editorials. I've used it for so many different types of shoots. I took it on vacation with me to Italy before the pandemic, back in the days when you would go on vacations. I'm actually going on one next month. I'm super excited. So why am I saying goodbye to my R? Well, about a year ago, I bought the R5, which has become my primary shooter. This guy served admirably as a backup. It's a great backup camera if you have an R5, but it's also a great primary camera if you don't have an R5. So why am I getting rid of it? Well, I recently acquired a Fuji GFX 100S. If you know what this is, you know that between this and an R5, I'm probably pretty well covered on my stills. Even though I use those two cameras for different purposes, if I somehow found myself at a wedding and one of the cameras went down, the other would serve just fine. So as far as stills are concerned, my R has kind of become obsolete. It's an amazing camera, and I didn't want it to just sit and collect dust. I would rather a photographer get to enjoy this amazing camera. So I am meeting a lady who I met on Facebook Marketplace for coffee later today, and I'm going to sell this camera to her, and I wish her well with it. I congratulate her because she's going to get some amazing mileage out of this camera. My needs have changed. I need to take the money that I'm going to get selling this, and I need to use it for a dedicated video camera. I'm looking at either the R6 or the R7. I'm still debating. I'm not sure which direction I want to go. I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. Should I get the R7 or should I get the R6? There's a pretty good argument for the R6 and that it's a full frame, but beyond that, the R7 seems to have a lot of really cool features as long as I don't mind the crop. Keep in mind, it is just a video camera. The R6 might come as a better backup though, if I wanted to go all Canon for something like a wedding. But anyway, this is about the R. Since I'm getting rid of this camera today, I figured I should probably make a video on it, do a long-term review of it, give you my opinions on it, and then hopefully it can help you. The R is on rebate right now, so it's a good time to get one. You can also get them for a pretty inexpensive amount on the used market. Now, who is this camera for? If you want to get into the mirrorless system, you want something that's going to be good for landscapes, portraits, this is your guy. The autofocusing system, while not as good as your R5, your R6, your R7, your R3, obviously, it's still really awesome. If you're coming over from a 5D, a 6D, you don't have to focus and recompose with this. I haven't focused and recomposed on a Canon R camera yet because I don't need to. You have the touch and drag, which I think is a game changer. I don't know why they put the little touch bar on here. Clearly they knew it was a mistake because they didn't put it on any of their other cameras. I just turned it off, by the way. My biggest complaint on it is that it doesn't have the dial on the back. I'm used to the whole exposure triangle setup that you get on the R5 and the R6, where I have my shutter speed right here, I have my ISO right here, and then I have a dial on the back where I do my aperture. Now, if you have the RF lenses, you could always put the aperture on the control ring, and then it could kind of function kind of like a Fuji maybe. That was something that when I was new to the mirrorless, I dealt with it. But now that I have an R5, the ergonomics of not having my aperture control right here kind of drives me crazy. It is cool though. You can still customize a lot of buttons on it. On the back, you know, I use back button focus. That's a cool feature. Like all of the other Canon cameras, other than the R10 and the RP, the R, when you turn it off, the curtain comes down over the sensor, which is great. I don't know why all manufacturers don't do that. I think that's a really intelligent design on Canon's part. One thing to keep in mind, depending on the type of work you do, the R does not have dual card slots. That may bother you. It doesn't bother me. I've been shooting digital for 2 decades. I've never lost a card, but that's something to keep in mind if you want to get one. But yeah, in general, I would say that this camera, the autofocus is like 80%, 85% as good as my R5, R6. It still does an admirable job. And if you're coming over from the DSLR world, this is going to be a game changer for you. So this isn't going to be like a super in-depth review. It was just my impressions using this amazing camera for 3 years. 3 years this week, I bought this camera. So I had this camera exactly for 3 years. It served me well on my vacation to Italy. I've used it for street photography. The weather sealing on it is great. I haven't had it in too extreme of conditions, but you know, I've dealt with a little bit of rain with it. It was totally fine. If you're in the market for a Canon mirrorless, if you want to be around 30 megapixels and get a full frame, this is your camera. There are some people who say that when you compare it to the R6, they like the way that the colors turn out on this. It's based off of the 5D Mark IV sensor, which gets a lot of rave reviews on its colors. So it would make sense that that translates over to the R. 3 years, my primary body for 2.5 of them, you know, there's no scratches on them or anything. I take good care of my stuff, but let's be honest, at some point in time, us photographers, we photographers were very clumsy and we bump it into things, and it held up really well. The construction on this is incredible. It feels just as good as my R5 as far as durability, construction. So yeah, I mean, what a great camera. I'll just leave you with a slideshow with some of my favorite shots that I took on this guy, and we're gonna say goodbye to this guy. We're going to bid farewell, pour one out. However you want to say goodbye to this guy. I'll talk to you soon.